Welcome to City Council Chronicles. Somewhere out there, a city council meeting is happening, and you're not watching it, but I am. I'm Michael Carlick, and you're listening to the City Council Chronicles podcast. For City Council meeting reviews, visit councilchronicles.com. Last week, I reviewed the Meridian, Idaho City Council meeting. We found out that some people use Meridian's parks for cake fights. Imagine that. You can add cake fights to your list of the couple of reasons to move to Idaho. Also, check back on Wednesday for a special episode of the podcast. What's it about? Well, I can't tell you without my lawyer present, but here's a little preview.
My boyfriend's son is trans, and this school has just bent over backwards to be welcoming, to be inclusive. I'm just so proud, especially for a suburb. It has been amazing.
Again, check back on Wednesday, or subscribe now to the podcast. While you're at it, be sure to rate and review us on iTunes. For today's episode, I packed up the orchestra and headed down to Texas. Didn't I, boys? Yes, I talked to T.J. Gilmore, a rootin' tootin' councilman from a little speck of dust called Lewisville, Texas. Now, Gilmore ain't some kinda outlaw. In fact, this cowpoke used to be a Cub Scout master. He also told me about the one and only one time that someone slipped a cuss word at a council meeting. Holster your six-shooter and stay tuned. The music is by bensound.com. Councilman, there are probably a lot of people who don't know that Texas has its own Pledge of Allegiance that you say at the council meetings after the country's Pledge of Allegiance.
That's very true.
And I do want to be respectful of Texas because you have a lot of guns. So would you join me in reciting the pledge to the state flag?
Sure.
Okay. And if you're listening at home, please stand and show some respect. Here we go. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
You got it. You can move here now. You're all set.
No, I'm good. But but thank you. Now, is it a law that you have to say the Texas Pledge of Allegiance right after you say the national one?
It is not. It is not. Various cities do it, others don't. It's completely up to the municipality and what they thought. This little tradition in Lewisville happened 3 mayors ago, I think it was. Mayor Jean Carey actually asked to add the Texas Pledge to our procedures. So that little habit has continued since then.
Okay, and I know you haven't lived in Texas all your life, so when you moved there and you first heard the Texas Pledge, did you think, oh, this is cool, it's doubly patriotic, or did you kind of roll your eyes and think, this is such a quintessentially Texas thing to do.
It is a totally Texas thing to do, and quite frankly, I actually first encountered it when I was in third grade. When I was a small child,
Yeah.
my father took a job in West Texas out in a town called Snyder, and we encountered the Texas Pledge. And quite frankly, in third grade, Texas history is a big thing. So I encountered it there for the first time, and then when we came back and moved in to live here back in 2000, it popped back up and went, oh, there it is, and I took to it pretty quickly, actually.
Do you hear the pledge anywhere else outside of the council meetings?
It happens at Boy Scout meetings. It happens at public events. I'll see it on occasion. Most of the time, I will see it at school events where the kids actually just say it all together. It's kind of funny. The younger they get, the more both pledges just become one extra long pledge.
Well, yeah, except everyone's got to pivot 90 degrees to face the Texas flag, so it's cool to watch everyone move in unison like that.
Right.
Now, in addition to being a councilman, you are a Cub Scout master, right?
Well, actually, I'm now Boy Scouts, so that has moved over time. But yeah, I have twin sons who are 14 years old, and they've been going through the scouting program. And yeah, I started off as a Cub master, and then worked my way, and now I'm a committee chair for the Scout troop, which are the older boys.
Oh, good stuff. So I read through the Lewisville City Charter, and I also read the Scoutmaster Manual. And we're going to play a little quiz called Who Am I?
Okay.
I'll read you some duties of either a Lewisville council member or a scoutmaster, and you have to tell me who I'm describing. You ready?
Okay.
Cool. This person adopts the budget of the city.
That would be the city councilman.
That's correct. I was giving you an easy one to start off with. This person attends monthly planning meetings.
That would be a scoutmaster.
That's right. This person names and designates an official newspaper.
That would be the city council.
Right. Have you done that yet?
Yes, we do that every year.
Nice. Which one is it?
I believe it's the Denton Record Chronicle. It may be the Dallas Morning News. Those are usually the two because we have they have to have a postal certificate, which is a really obscure thing that usually you have to have a certain distribution size before you can get one.
Wait. Lewisville has two official newspapers, and neither of them has the name Lewisville in it?
We do not have a local paper that meets the state requirement. There's a particular postal license that's needed. We do not have a local paper that actually meets that requirement. So yes, I don't know if it's Dallas Morning News or Denton Record Chronicle. We don't have both of them as a local paper of record, but they both have been at one time or another.
Well, somebody out there needs to do a Kickstarter to get you guys a paper.
Right. We actually have two. We have two small local papers. Give a shout out to my favorite, which is the Lewisville Texan Journal. It actually started as a hyper-local news blog and has gone to the print world this past year. So hopefully at some point it will grow to the size that it can become our paper of record. That's what I'd love to see.
Okay, well, I will order 1,000 subscriptions to get those numbers up. You've been on the city council since 2011, and 6 years is kind of a long time. Can you think of anything that has changed about the council meetings since then?
Not a whole terribly lot. We've added a couple of things where our city secretary now reads a lot more of the content of the agenda during the meeting, whereas historically it's been the mayor that's kind of read all of the, here's what we're going to be talking about. But as far as the meetings themselves, the structure is pretty similar. As the economy does well, you get more projects and more conversations. So We have a few more workshops that we schedule per year than we used to back in the very first days that I was on council. But in general, like most things municipal, change is very slow and measured.
Have you changed at all in that time? Maybe you came in and were kind of quiet, but now you speak up a lot. Or you came in not knowing how anything worked, and now you're the straight-A student.
I think what has changed in my perception of council is how well that each of our councilmen kind of works as a team. We all kind of have some specialties that we enjoy. And so we tend to respect and listen to whoever the guy is or gal and their expertise and their research that they brought to the table. And I didn't expect that when I first became a councilman. I kind of expected, everybody's got to be an expert on everything because that's kind of how my brain works. But being able to step back and trust that, Councilman Ferguson has got a tremendous amount of background in this area and being able to run with that, I think has been really helpful actually as a councilman to know that it's not just me. There's a team there that we all work together.
What's the thing that Councilman Ferguson knows a lot about?
Oh, Councilman Ferguson, he's definitely he's our arts guy. He is the master of all things.
What do you mean, like painting? Is he a quilter?
He's served on several boards for the different music, like our symphony and a couple of other of those groups. So he's definitely a musician by training and his background. He's also a mathematician by training. So.
Using both hemispheres of the brain.
He's one of those guys. Yeah. Pretty cool guy.
Nice. Now, you have been a councilman under 2 different mayors.
Correct.
And when it comes to running the city council meetings, is there a style that one of them had that you just prefer over the other?
Yeah, they definitely have different styles. Mayor Euchert, definitely he ran the show and he ran through the agendas. Mayor Durham, Councilman Durham, but Mayor Durham now. Mayor Durham is he likes to direct, but he doesn't need to read the whole thing. So he's I guess a little more hands off, if you will. And I kind of like his method better. He just steers the conversation and kind of sits back there and nudges it here and there where he feels that maybe we're missing or coming off the rails. But I'm really enjoying his style.
Okay, so in other words, he doesn't make it about him like one might be tempted to if you were the most powerful person in your city.
There you go.
Something else that's interesting is that in October of 2012, you posted this on Facebook. I had the opportunity to speak with 5th graders about local government. My favorite part, their eyes lighting up when I told them every meeting gives you 3 minutes to say anything and the council can't respond. Did any of those 5th graders take you up on that and come into public comment?
Unfortunately, they did not, but it's always available. So I think it's fun to talk with kids, right? They don't have the filters, and they're very interested in how the world works. I think most of the time we forget that there's a whole process that makes the streets and the toilets and everything else run.
Well, my podcast is mostly aimed at 3rd graders, so I will be asking you some questions about boogers in a little bit.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
Can you remember any unruly or unexpected moments from your city council meetings? Maybe something a public commenter said or something that another council member said that has just stuck with you?
Well, I think the most entertaining one was, almost 2 years ago now, I think. We had a gentleman come in with his girlfriend. And he decided that he wanted to talk about the Lewisville Lake Dam, which is we have a dam.
Okay.
It's run by the Corps of Engineers, and it basically holds back a huge water supply. And it was kind of in the news last year because it had been marked as one that needed some repair and work. And, if that dam were to ever fail, it would basically flood Dallas.
Right.
So he came in and was, I don't know if he was showing off for his young lady, but he decided that he would go into a bit of a tirade on why the city was not fixing the dam. The reality is that it's a federal property and it's run by the federal government, by the Corps of Engineers. It just happens to have our name on it. It's not our lake. It's not our dam. And so when he was given those facts, he decided to curse, at which point Mayor Durham piped up and said, "That's it, you're out." And I thought, wow, that was pretty quick and to the point. We don't get that. We don't get people yelling in Lewisville. Things are pretty good in our city. We just don't get a whole lot of drama. But that one was entertaining.
Point of clarification, did they look like they were on a date, or were both of them coming in because they were concerned about the dam?
No, I got the vibe as I watched out before he came up. I got the vibe that he had brought his lady friend and was there to show off. Speak truth to power or something.
Gotcha.
So it was entertaining. But that kind of stuff does not happen very often. We do, we'll get residents who want something addressed or, have a concern. But I think decorum is definitely held within the city. But that would be the first time I ever heard anybody drop the F-bomb in city council, which I thought was, kind of entertaining.
Wait till those 5th graders turn into 12th graders, then watch out. That is something I've noticed, how relatively non-eventful Lewisville City Council meetings are compared to some others out there, which is what made this Facebook post of yours stand out to me. This is from June 2013.
Okay.
Tonight's 7 p.m. council meeting, election of mayor pro tem, zoning change, video equipment upgrade, utility relocation. Oh, and my dad is in town to harass me from the audience. Good times. What do you remember from that meeting?
Oh, it went fine. I think the mayor at that time pointed out that my dad was in the audience, and my dad is a 6'4". I kind of call him the Marlboro Man because he still rides horses, and he used to work for Sheriff Joe Arpaio as a prison guard in Arizona. So he tells it like it is. So he had a good time.
Well, he should be the one to kick people out if they're effing around in there.
Yeah, that would be my dad. But he had a good time with it. We give there's one thing I know in my family is I'm not going to ever be allowed to allow my ego to overstep its bounds.
You all seem pretty well-balanced on the city council, and, I mean, Lewisville seems just like a city of well-balanced people. Is that accurate?
That's a great way to put it. I don't think I've ever heard it played that way, but I take it.
And, I mean, granted, I've only talked to one of you so far, so,
you can always check out our neighbors and find out, how we deal with a peer review.
Well, I have seen Rick Perry, so I think I have all the information I need.
Okay.
You were mayor pro tem for 2 years, which means you could fill in for the mayor. And I noticed in the city charter that the mayor/mayor pro tem have the power to declare a state of emergency, which includes being able to close roads and parks and buildings. Are you disappointed you never got to use that power?
That whole phenomenal cosmic power thing is just, it's something I'd hope to be able to use. No, not really. I'm really thankful I've never had to. I mean, we had some significant flooding in North Texas 2 years ago. And it created some real challenges for a couple of our neighborhoods and whatnot. But that's the power I don't look forward to exercising, if ever.
So, one power you do have, though, is you sometimes tweet or post Facebook updates during council meetings and workshops about what's going on. Now, do you think that's something all city council members should try to do? Or are you comfortable being the one that people can look to for enlightenment during the council meetings?
I've been in communication in a lot of different ways for a long time, and everybody communicates differently.
Yeah.
So I just happen to use a few more tools than some of my colleagues do. I'm a fan of using as many tools as you can because you're going to reach out to different constituencies, different users of the technologies. But, if you're not comfortable with using it and you're in that leadership position, either you need to figure out how to be comfortable with it or just say, you know what, I'm just not going to take that on. So I respect a councilman that says, you know what, this is outside of what I can do comfortably. By the same token, I'd encourage every council person to get out there and be as transparent as you can.
Right. And there are plenty of people who post a picture or do a write-up after an event, but it's less common, I suppose, for people to be in a meeting, process what's going on, and also be able to push it out there for their followers to read about.
Well, and that's, for me, especially Twitter, I don't tweet or twit or whatever it is as well as...
watch your language, sir. There are third graders listening.
There we go. I don't do that as well as I think other folks do. But I do think that especially when we do things like retreat where residents can't necessarily get to it, it makes it a little easier for me to see a relevance for Twitter, especially as a tool. So you'll see me, especially when we do our council retreats, that I will break that tool out and use it. So
Gotcha. Now, one council meeting moment that stuck out to me was from December 2014. The mayor was down in front recognizing someone from the Salvation Army. And then he said this.
Okay.
Thank you.
So right now, I'm going to ask everyone that would like to come forward. Don't feel like you're obligated. But if you'd like to come forward and join me in giving to the Red Kettle campaign, we'd love to start off our campaign right this year in the city of Lewisville. So if you would, come forward.
And then everyone in the meeting, almost 30 people, comes down to the front to put money in the Salvation Army bucket. And I've never seen a mayor get everyone to do anything before. Do you think this was a good move, or does it open itself up to mayors going, every other meeting possibly guilting you guys into giving to charity?
I didn't have any issue with it. I think it was a lot of fun to get in there and have some fun with it. My Rotary Club actually helps with the bell ringing, so maybe I'm a little biased.
Well, to be fair, he did look good wearing that red apron.
He does. He sports a red apron very well. That shock of white hair in the red apron really does it.
Yeah, if you were 200 pounds heavier, he could be Santa Claus.
You got it.
Yeah, except Santa Claus doesn't deliver things like infrastructure improvements and...
Yes, state of the city addresses, that kind of stuff, yeah.
Right. And I imagine when Santa gives his State of the North Pole address, it's like when Trump brings in people to clap for him, like all the elves have to clap for Santa.
Right.
Or else they lose their job and get sent to Antarctica on an ice floe. There's one more moment I want to ask you about. In September 2011, Councilman David Thornhill died of a heart attack. And at the next council meeting, there was a tribute video with pictures of him throughout his life, and there was a eulogy from his son. Let's listen to a little bit of that video.
He saw something in my life that was broken and needed fixing, and he stepped in and fixed it. That night, my dad became my hero, and he stayed my hero, even as I became a smart-ass teenager like most teenage boys do. Whether he knows it or not, he taught me what a dad is supposed to do for his kids. I thank him for that. Love you, Dad.
When you were listening to that and looking over and seeing his empty chair, did you find it hard to be fully present in the council meeting? And do you occasionally have something happen in your life that prevents you from being 100% in the moment during the meetings?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'd love to tell you that no, I'm completely locked in all the time. But you have those people that'll come up and they'll say something about something that they need or something that they appreciate, and you'll get kind of hung up on that. It happens a lot in the public comment to me, quite frankly. Somebody will come up and they'll talk about a concern that they have, and by law, I can't comment because it's not part of the agenda. But I want to make sure that resident is getting what they need done, and so I'll be kind of sitting there making notes or follow up or those types of things. Yeah, you'll have stuff like that, or you'll have proclamations or some sort of recognition of somebody who's done a wonderful thing in the community, and you kind of bask in that for a few minutes before you go, oh, I got city business to do. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Part of the importance of being up there is to relate to people and relate to what they need, and sometimes just bathe in what it means to be the community for a minute. That's a little sappy, but hey, that's I think it's important. I think it's cool that we do those kinds of things as a city, that we recognize those pieces of the things we lose, the things we gain, what was important to us, what had value. I think that's all really important stuff that we should do, and I think cities as they get bigger forget that. It gets harder to do.